Hello and welcome to the channel. I am happy to report that I have already put in 233 miles in my MR2 Turbo. So far it's been running great. After the first initial drive video that we did, we've had some issues here and there. But today I'm going to be talking to you about how my project MR2 is doing. And as you can see, we're driving. What we still need to do for this car are the brakes, the pads, and the rotors. I have new rotors and new pads. I'm just having issues on trying to take out the caliper bracket because it's in a tight spot. So I'm going to need to use a wrench and use a lot of force and some sort of leverage, especially for the rear ones. The front ones are not that much of an issue because you can always turn the wheel to give access to those bolts. But for this SW20 for the rear is going to be a pain. I was trying to do the work myself, but I wasn't able to do it, unfortunately, because I just have no strength whatsoever. So I'm going to have to try it again and use a lot of PV blaster and hope for the best. On top of that, I still got to do the suspension on this car. Again, I've only done the fuel tank, the fuel pump, the fuel, all the other stuff that you guys have been seeing, and we're running the car now. So I still need to do everything else, like the components, the suspension, the ball joints, the sway bar links, everything pretty much has to get done, tie rods. I haven't done them yet because, again, I just been lazy and I've been busy too, but I'm just trying to get all the parts and just running the car to see what else it needs. But it's a lot of fun driving this thing, don't get me wrong. It's fun, but it needs its maintenance, so that's what we plan on doing. I've had an issue where the engine would stall. So when you first saw that video of me driving it for the first time with my friend, we stalled like 3 times.
You turn it off again?
And there was a lot of smoke coming out of the engine side, and it was blue, and I think it was just all the old oil burning off. I took it to my uncle like the next day after that video, because it was a Monday I recorded that. Tuesday I went to my uncle so he could see the car, because I was excited. I finally got it running. First time we're moving it out of here. Dude.
Drive it over there.
Dude, get it the thumbnail, bro. Get the thumbnail. Just make sure. Like, this is thumbnail quality. Thumbnail quality, damn.
Rev it.
Well, I don't got enough gas to that. Let's go. It was the greatest moment of my life and, of this whole journey, being able to start it and drive it. It was so surreal. And I took it to him, trying to show him the car. We revved it a little bit because he told me to rev it a little bit. And from then I noticed that the engine stayed stable. It idled perfectly fine. And before it would boggle up and down. And, he just told me, he said, rev it a little bit, just because he wanted to hear the exhaust. And like that, well, it kind of fixed itself, really. I let it sat for like an hour and a half because I was over there talking to him. And, well, the things it just fixed itself, I guess. That was the first time I heard the radiator turn on too, like the radiator fans in the front kick on. It has a slight ticking, and everybody and all my friends that have checked it out said it's a valve. Though how true that is, I don't know. I just hope it's not piston slap, and I don't think it is, because piston slap sounds a lot louder than this little ticking. The ticking, it stays there and you can hear it when you accelerate, and it kind of goes away when it warms up, but I'm not too sure. Again, this is a project MR2, and we still gotta check out everything. There's a lot of things in this thing that I have to check out. The tires, as you know, they're oversized. These are supposed to be 195 60s R14s in the front, and the rear is supposed to be 205 60s R14. Well, I'm way over that by 10. It's a 195 70. Hearing that boost and the turbo spool and the little blow-off valve go off is just intoxicating. It's so lovely, especially this being my first turbo car. it's just intoxicating. I can't get over it. Though it's not good for my fuel economy because I'm burning gas like crazy doing that over and over again. But it is just... So the tires that I have on here, they're supposed to be 195 60 R14, and the rears are supposed to be 205 60 R14. Well, they're oversized. It's 195 70 R14, and the rears are 205 70 R14. Now, when I say it's like it's close from the tire to the front suspension, it is very close. I'm not lying to you. It is like paper thin close. How it doesn't rub, I don't know. It does rub when you're turning, you know, on a tight spot, or when you are on a very high bump. Normal cruise, like highway and flat roads, honestly, it doesn't rub. I don't know. You can somewhat hear it sometimes. Like right now, this road isn't perfect, but it's not rubbing. It's not hitting the suspension strut. I don't know, but it doesn't do it. It's weird. It's only when you go on the back roads and it's really bouncy, you will hear it. You'll hear the tire rub on the suspension strut on the front. Now, I know that's not good, but I'm just sending it like it is. I already paid for these tires. I have the correct sized ones. I'm not bothering and changing them until I see some real damage. The suspension, again, it's not really doing, it's not hitting it. It's not damaging it if I'm driving it normally. Even if I'm accelerating, I just have to watch out for the back roads. That's the thing. I don't have an e-brake. My e-brake cable disconnected from in here in the cabin. I don't know how it happened. I guess when I was messing with it, when I had the cable disconnected underneath, somehow the little metal rod in here disconnected. I was able to put it back in. It was painful to get it back in, but I was able to put it in. But I still need to connect it underneath. It's not easy because there's some tension going on, and there's a pin that needs to drop into these two holes to line up perfectly fine. And well, I wasn't able to put them in because they, you know, I don't have a lift, and it's just a lot harder. So while I'm going to do my brakes and I have the car up in the air, I'm going to do that. The other thing is the blower motor in the cabin of this car doesn't work. I don't know if my switch, the resistor, or the fan itself is broken in here. So for the blower motor in the cabin, I need that because when it rains or for any reason I need a defroster or something for the windshield, you know, I don't want it to fog up, or at least to have some sort of air. I need that for the fact that it needs, you know, just for the windows. So I need to fix that. That's another detail and another thing I still got to do to this car. Now, another thing is I have a mysterious coolant leak, and I hope it's a coolant leak and it's not burning the coolant. I haven't burped out the system, believe it or not. You're supposed to burp out the system. You're supposed to jack the car up in the air, have tubes connected in the front of this, where the front area is. Open the valve so it properly bleeds out air, so that way you don't have any air bubbles or anything in your air system, just due to the fact of how this car is. Believe it or not, I have not done that at all. I have never had a problem with it overheating or anything like that. I was trying to burp out the system the first time I was going to drive it, but because the radiator fan never kicked on or something, it wouldn't bleed out. I opened the valves, I had tubes connected, and I opened the valves, but nothing would come out. But I think now that because the radiator fan and everything, all the system is a go, I think now I'm able to do that. But I think I have a mysterious leak somewhere. One time I opened the cap, it was still full of radiator after I've driven it, but every time I open it, it goes down by a little bit. One time I discovered it when I had it up in the air that it was leaking a little bit. I saw it leak somewhere from on top of the oil pan, which leads me to believe it's probably a silicone hose or one of the coolant hoses here near the oil dipstick, but I haven't seen it leak after that. It has to be at an angle for it to leak. I don't know. So I'm hoping, knock on valve cover, that it's only leaking coolant and it's not burning it. I've been checking my oil almost every day to make sure that it's not leaking or that it's mixing. It's not a blown head gasket, and thankfully it's not. The oil has just been super black and dirty because turbocharged. And it's just now having all the system run together. So I'm hoping it's something simple and it's a leak. So we're hoping for the best. I had an issue with the shifter where it was weird. When you were trying to put it into first gear, it would go into third. And so my odd way of doing it was I was supposed to put it in second gear and then put it to first before I take off. Turns out that I had So there's these brackets. I'll show you a picture. So there's this bracket that holds the shifter cable, and that is attached to another bracket onto the transmission. Well, there's supposed to be two nuts, right? Because there's two bolts going through the holes, and there's supposed to be two nuts holding that bracket. I discovered that there was no bolts holding it whatsoever. I don't think it fell off when I was driving the car for the first time, because I don't think they were even on there to begin with. But after I put two brand new nuts on there, the shifter is perfect. I can go into first gear, no problem. Second, third, fourth, fifth, reverse, no issues whatsoever. So I think it was just an issue of that. A lot of people say it could be the synchrones. Maybe, I don't know how many miles this transmission has. I must say that it has the original transmission, but it shifts really smooth. I haven't changed the gear oil, though I should. That's another step that I have to do. That's another maintenance thing. I got to change the gear oil. It was leaking a little bit from the plug, but I tightened it. Now it's not leaking anymore. So either way, I got to change it, and I got to take care of that. I know there are little issues that I still probably am missing, and I will still keep discovering as time goes on. But those are the major ones, mysterious coolant leak, no e-brake, no interior blower motor fan, the brakes, the suspension that needs to get done, steering, and all the other stuff that just need a refresh. And I think there's a CV axle that I forgot to mention. The boot is torn, and I just have Flex Seal on it at the moment, and I will be doing a video of that, of how long that'll last. But yes, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoy. I hope you're excited of the car as I am. Honestly, I'm very happy. This is my first sports car ever, first turbocharged car ever, and I'm happy to say that it is a 91 Toyota MR2. I still want to go to the guy's property and let him sit in here for the very first time in 5 or 6 years this car has been sitting. He told me when I bought this car that I should bring it back to him once it's running, that it's up and running, so he could take a look at it and sit in the passenger side. Well, I hope to make that a reality. I just need to do the brakes and all these other little things, and I hope that I'm able to meet up with him again and be able to do that, because that would be a great video for you guys, reuniting this car back to its original owner since 1991. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. As always, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe to Secondhand Speed. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next video.